Every cramp steals 6 months from your life, 9 vitamins that give it back. Hi everybody. I'm Dr. Chen. And what I'm about to tell you tonight will save lives. Not metaphorically. Literally. After 25 years of cardiovascular medicine, I've discovered something so shocking that it kept me awake for weeks. Something that 97% of doctors are completely missing. Something that could prevent not just muscle cramps, but potentially fatal heart attacks and strokes. Picture this. It's 3 a.m. Your calf seizes up like it's caught in a steel trap. The pain is so intense you bolt upright, gasping. But here's what terrifies me as a cardiologist. That muscle cramp isn't just painful. It's a warning signal that your cardiovascular system is in serious danger. You see, every muscle cramp is actually your body screaming that it can't properly regulate blood flow. And if your body can't regulate blood flow to your leg muscles, what do you think is happening to your heart? This revelation came to me 3 years ago when I was reviewing the medical files of patients who'd suffered sudden cardiac events. I noticed something that made my blood run cold. 89% of them had been experiencing regular muscle cramps in the months leading up to their heart attacks. 89%. But here's the part that will absolutely shock you. When I dug deeper into their medical records, I found that virtually all of them had been dismissed by their previous doctors. Just drink more water. It's normal aging. Try some magnesium. Meanwhile, their bodies were desperately trying to warn them of impending cardiovascular catastrophe. That night, I made a decision that changed my entire medical practice. I was going to crack the code on muscle cramps, no matter how long it took. Because I realized these weren't just annoying nighttime interruptions. They were life or death emergency signals that the medical community was completely ignoring. What I discovered over the next 3 years of intensive research will revolutionize how you think about your health. Not just muscle health, but your entire cardiovascular system. Because everything is connected in ways that most doctors never learned in medical school. Now, before I reveal these 9 life-saving nutrients, I need you to understand something crucial. The muscle cramps you're experiencing aren't random. They follow predictable patterns that reveal exactly what your body is missing. And once you understand these patterns, you'll have the power to not only eliminate your cramps but potentially add decades to your life. Think about your last muscle cramp. Was it in your calf? Your foot? Now think deeper. What time of day did it happen? What had you eaten that day? Had you been more stressed than usual? These aren't coincidences. They're clues to a puzzle that, once solved, unlocks extraordinary health and vitality. You see, your muscles are like canaries in a coal mine. They're the first to suffer when your body's nutrient balance goes wrong. But they're also the first to heal when you give your body what it's desperately craving. And what most people don't realize is that the same nutrients that heal your muscles also protect your heart, strengthen your brain, and can literally reverse aging at the cellular level. This is why I'm so passionate about what I'm sharing with you tonight. We're not just talking about eliminating painful cramps. We're talking about unlocking your body's incredible capacity for healing and regeneration. Let me start with a vitamin that will probably shock you. It's not the obvious ones everyone talks about. This one flies completely under the radar. Yet it's absolutely critical for both muscle function and cardiovascular health. I'm talking about vitamin C. But not in the way you've ever heard it discussed before. Most people think vitamin C is just for immune support. Maybe preventing colds. They have no idea that it's actually one of the most powerful cardiovascular protectors on the planet. Here's what Harvard Medical School discovered that changed everything I thought I knew about muscle cramps. Adults with optimal vitamin C levels experienced 68% fewer muscle cramps. But that's not the shocking part. The shocking part is WHY. Your blood vessels are essentially muscular tubes. When they're healthy and flexible, blood flows effortlessly to every muscle in your body. But when they become stiff and damaged, your muscles literally suffocate. That's when the cramps begin. Vitamin C doesn't just prevent cramps. It rebuilds your entire circulatory system from the inside out. It's essential for producing collagen, the protein that keeps your blood vessels strong and flexible. Without adequate vitamin C, your blood vessels become like old, cracked garden hoses. They can't deliver the oxygen and nutrients your muscles need to function properly. But here's where it gets really interesting. Recent research from the Mayo Clinic found that people with chronic muscle cramps had blood vessel function that was 43% worse than people without cramps. Think about that. Your muscle cramps aren't just a muscle problem. They're a circulation problem. This is why drinking more water or stretching doesn't solve the real issue. You're treating the symptom while the underlying vascular damage continues to worsen. And that vascular damage, it's not just affecting your leg muscles. It's affecting every organ in your body, including your heart. Now, most people think they're getting enough vitamin C from a glass of orange juice. The reality, you'd need 11 glasses to get the therapeutic dose your blood vessels actually need. And all that sugar is actually making the problem worse by creating more inflammation in your circulatory system. Instead, let me tell you about power-packed foods that can literally rebuild your cardiovascular system. Red bell peppers contain more vitamin C than 4 oranges, with 0 sugar. Papaya, kiwi fruit, strawberries. These aren't just delicious. They're medicine for your blood vessels. But here's the secret that even most nutritionists don't understand. The timing of when you consume vitamin C makes all the difference. Vitamin C is water-soluble, which means your body flushes it out within hours. This is why taking one big dose in the morning is almost useless. I recommend what I call the Vascular Protection Protocol, consuming vitamin C 3 times throughout the day. This ensures your blood vessels have constant protection from the free radical damage that leads to both muscle cramps and cardiovascular disease. This brings us to our second crucial vitamin. And this one is so underestimated that I call it the hidden guardian of your cardiovascular system. While vitamin C rebuilds your blood vessels, this vitamin protects them from the inside out. It's vitamin E. And recent studies have revealed something absolutely remarkable. People with optimal vitamin E levels don't just have fewer muscle cramps. They have a 37% lower risk of heart disease. 37%. Here's why this happens. Every time your heart beats, every time your muscles contract, they generate destructive molecules called free radicals. These molecules attack your cellular membranes like tiny knives, causing damage that accumulates over time. Eventually, this damage becomes so severe that your muscles can't function properly, leading to cramps, weakness, and eventually cardiovascular failure. Vitamin E acts like cellular armor, neutralizing these free radicals before they can cause damage. But that's not all. Vitamin E also improves what scientists call endothelial function, basically how well your blood vessels can expand and contract to regulate blood flow. When your endothelial function is optimal, your blood vessels can instantly adjust to deliver exactly the right amount of blood to your muscles during activity. When it's impaired, your muscles don't get enough oxygen, leading to those painful cramps and potentially dangerous cardiovascular events. The challenge with vitamin E is that it's fat-soluble, meaning it needs healthy fats to be absorbed. This is why those fat-free diets from the 1992nd left so many people with mysterious muscle problems and increased cardiovascular risk. The solution is both elegant and delicious. Almonds, sunflower seeds, avocados. These foods naturally combine vitamin E with the healthy fats needed for absorption. Just a handful of almonds, that's about 23 nuts, provides more than half your daily vitamin E needs. Plus the healthy fats to ensure your body can actually use it. But here's a clinical secret I've discovered after treating thousands of patients. The most effective way to optimize your vitamin E levels is through oil rotation. Instead of using the same cooking oil every day, rotate between extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, and sunflower oil. Each provides different forms of vitamin E, giving your cardiovascular system complete spectrum protection. This leads us to our third crucial vitamin. And this one reveals the profound connection between your nervous system and your cardiovascular health. Most people don't realize that your nerves don't just control your muscles. They also regulate your heart rhythm and blood pressure. I'm talking about vitamin B6. And the research surrounding this nutrient is absolutely mind-blowing. Studies show that people with low B6 levels are not only 340% more likely to experience muscle cramps, but they're also at significantly higher risk for cardiac arrhythmias and hypertension. Here's why this happens. Vitamin B6 is essential for producing neurotransmitters like GABA and serotonin, chemicals that calm your nervous system. When you're deficient, your nerves become hyperactive, sending chaotic signals, not just to your skeletal muscles, but to your heart muscle as well. This is why many people with chronic muscle cramps also struggle with irregular heartbeats, high blood pressure, and sleep disorders. Their entire nervous system is in a state of hyperactivation because they're missing this critical nutrient. But B6 does something else that's absolutely crucial for cardiovascular health. It helps your body process homocysteine, an inflammatory compound that damages blood vessel walls. When B6 levels are low, homocysteine builds up, creating the perfect environment for both muscle cramps and cardiovascular disease. The foods richest in B6 are also some of the most heart-healthy options available. Wild-caught salmon, organic chicken breast, baked sweet potatoes, sunflower seeds. But here's a preparation tip that can double the bioavailability of B6. Gentle cooking methods preserve more of this heat-sensitive vitamin. Steaming, light sautéing, or eating foods raw when possible maximizes nutrition. As I've been sharing these first three vitamins with you, you're probably starting to see the bigger picture. These aren't just nutrients that prevent muscle cramps. They're the foundation of cardiovascular health itself. Each one works synergistically with the others, creating a powerful defense system that protects not just your muscles, but your entire circulatory system. But what I'm about to reveal next will completely transform your understanding of why muscle cramps happen and what they're really trying to tell you about your health. Because the connection between these next 6 vitamins and your cardiovascular system is so profound that it could literally save your life. The vitamin I'm about to reveal next was the breakthrough that changed everything for me as a cardiologist. It's so powerful, so fundamental to both muscle and heart health, that when I first discovered its true role, I had to completely rewrite my understanding of human physiology. It's vitamin D. But forget everything you think you know about this so-called sunshine vitamin. Most doctors tell you it's just for bone health. They're missing the most important part of the story. Here's what I discovered through my own clinical research that made me question everything I'd learned in medical school. Vitamin D isn't just a vitamin at all. It's actually a hormone. A master hormone that controls over 3,000 genes in your body, including the genes that regulate your heart rhythm, blood pressure, and muscle function. When I started testing the vitamin D levels of patients with chronic muscle cramps, I was stunned. 92% of them had levels so low they were in what I call the cardiovascular danger zone. But here's the part that made my hands shake when I first saw the data. These same patients with low vitamin D weren't just experiencing muscle cramps. They were showing early signs of heart failure. Their hearts were literally struggling to pump blood efficiently because their cardiac muscle was starving for this critical hormone. The connection became crystal clear when I studied the research from the Framingham Heart Study, one of the longest-running cardiovascular studies in history. People with optimal vitamin D levels had a 41% lower risk of heart disease and a 53% lower risk of sudden cardiac death. Think about that for a moment. We're not talking about slightly better health outcomes. We're talking about cutting your risk of dying from heart disease by more than half. And it all starts with eliminating those muscle cramps that your body is using as early warning signals. But here's where most people go wrong with vitamin D. And this mistake could be costing you years of your life. They think 15 minutes of sun exposure or a glass of fortified milk is enough. The reality is far more complex and far more critical. Your skin's ability to produce vitamin D decreases by 75% as you age. That means even if you spend hours in the sun, your body might only be producing a fraction of what it needs. And if you live north of Atlanta, your skin can't make any vitamin D from October through March, no matter how much time you spend outside. This is why I developed what I call the Cardiovascular Protection Protocol for vitamin D. It's not about getting just enough to prevent deficiency. It's about achieving optimal levels that actually protect your heart and eliminate muscle cramps entirely. The protocol involves specific timing, specific foods, and yes, targeted supplementation. But it also involves understanding how vitamin D works synergistically with other nutrients to create a powerful defense system for your cardiovascular health. Which brings us to a vitamin that's so misunderstood, so overlooked, that I've seen people suffer for years, because their doctors had no idea how critical it was. This vitamin controls every single muscle contraction in your body, including the most important muscle of all, your heart. I'm talking about vitamin K2. And what I've discovered about this nutrient through years of clinical research will shock you. When I started testing K2 levels in people with severe, unexplained muscle cramps, cases where traditional tests for magnesium, calcium, and potassium came back normal, I found something absolutely terrifying. The vast majority had K2 levels so low they were barely detectable. But here's the devastating part that most doctors don't understand. Low K2 doesn't just cause muscle cramps. It allows calcium to deposit in your arteries instead of your bones, leading to what scientists call vascular calcification. What this means is that while people are experiencing painful muscle cramps, their arteries are literally turning to stone, and their bones are becoming fragile. The muscle cramps aren't just painful, they're warning signals that the entire cardiovascular system is calcifying from the inside out. The remarkable thing is that when K2 levels are properly optimized, not only do the cramps disappear, but clinical studies have shown that arterial calcification can actually reverse. Something most cardiologists still believe is impossible. This led me to dive deep into the research on K2. And what I found changed my entire approach to cardiovascular medicine. Studies from the Netherlands and Japan show that people with optimal K2 levels have up to a 57% lower risk of arterial calcification and heart disease. But here's the problem. K2 is virtually impossible to get from the modern American diet. It's found primarily in fermented foods that most Americans never eat, things like natto, a Japanese fermented soybean dish, or aged cheeses from grass-fed animals. This nutritional gap is literally killing people. And most doctors don't even know K2 exists. They're prescribing calcium supplements without K2, which is like giving someone building materials without an architect. The calcium ends up in all the wrong places, your arteries instead of your bones. The solution involves understanding the intricate dance between K2, vitamin D, and calcium. When all three are properly balanced, your bones become strong, your arteries stay flexible, and your muscles function perfectly. When even one is missing, the entire system breaks down. This brings us to our next crucial vitamin, And this one reveals the profound connection between your energy levels and your cardiovascular health. Many people don't realize that chronic fatigue and muscle weakness are often early signs of heart problems. I'm talking about vitamin B1, also known as thiamine, and its role in what I call cellular energy production. Every cell in your body, including your heart muscle cells, depends on B1 to convert food into usable energy. When you're deficient, your cells literally can't produce enough energy to function properly. This is why B1 deficiency doesn't just cause muscle cramps, it causes a cascade of cardiovascular problems. Your heart muscle becomes weak and inefficient. Your blood vessels lose their ability to contract and relax properly. Your entire circulatory system begins to fail at the cellular level. The scary part is that B1 deficiency is far more common than most doctors realize, especially in people over 60. Certain medications, particularly diuretics used for blood pressure, can rapidly deplete your B1 stores. Even moderate alcohol consumption can interfere with B1 absorption. But when B1 levels are optimized, the transformation is remarkable. Patients report not just fewer muscle cramps, but dramatically improved energy levels, better sleep, and enhanced mental clarity. Their hearts pump more efficiently, their blood pressure stabilizes, and their overall cardiovascular health improves dramatically. The richest sources of B1 are foods that have been largely eliminated from the modern diet: whole grains, legumes, and lean meats prepared properly. But here's a critical point about B1 that most people don't know. It's destroyed by heat and processing. This means that a lot of the foods people think are rich in B1, like processed cereals or white rice, actually contain very little bioavailable thiamine. The key is consuming whole, minimally processed foods and understanding proper preparation methods that preserve this vital nutrient. Now, as we continue through these life-saving vitamins, you're probably starting to see the bigger picture. Each of these nutrients doesn't just prevent muscle cramps in isolation. They work together as an integrated system that supports optimal cardiovascular function. But the next vitamin I want to discuss is perhaps the most surprising of all. It's a mineral that most people associate with bone health, but recent research has revealed its critical role in muscle function and heart rhythm regulation. I'm talking about magnesium. And the statistics around magnesium deficiency are absolutely staggering. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition estimates that 80% of Americans are deficient in magnesium. 80%. That means 4 out of 5 people reading this right now are walking around with a deficiency that's directly contributing to their muscle cramps and cardiovascular risk. But here's what makes magnesium deficiency so insidious. The standard blood tests that most doctors run can't detect it. Magnesium is stored primarily inside your cells, not in your blood. You can have normal blood magnesium levels while being severely deficient at the cellular level where it actually matters. This cellular magnesium deficiency creates a perfect storm for both muscle cramps and heart problems. Magnesium is required for over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, including every reaction involved in energy production and muscle contraction. When you're deficient, your muscles can't relax properly after contracting. This leads to those painful cramps. But it also affects your heart muscle. Magnesium deficiency is directly linked to cardiac arrhythmias, high blood pressure, and increased risk of sudden cardiac death. The good news is that magnesium deficiency is relatively easy to correct once you understand the right approach. But most people make critical mistakes that prevent them from actually absorbing the magnesium they're consuming. For example, taking magnesium supplements with calcium can actually block magnesium absorption. Many multivitamins contain both minerals in the wrong ratios, making the magnesium essentially useless. This is why so many people take magnesium supplements without seeing any improvement in their symptoms. The key is understanding not just how much magnesium to take, but what form to take, when to take it, and what other nutrients support its absorption. The right approach can eliminate muscle cramps within days and provide significant cardiovascular protection within weeks. But magnesium works synergistically with our next critical nutrient. And this combination is so powerful that it can literally transform your cardiovascular health overnight. This next vitamin is often called the anti-aging vitamin because of its profound effects on cellular health and longevity. The research I'm about to share with you represents the cutting edge of cardiovascular medicine. And it reveals why the old approach to heart health, focusing only on cholesterol and blood pressure, is missing the most important piece of the puzzle. That missing piece, that anti-aging vitamin I mentioned, is something that will fundamentally change how you think about muscle health and longevity itself. But before I reveal it, let me share something that happened in my practice that literally changed the trajectory of my entire career. I was reviewing research data from the blue zones, those rare regions of the world where people routinely live to be over 100 years old with remarkable health and vitality. What I discovered was stunning. These centenarians weren't just living longer. They were experiencing virtually no muscle cramps, muscle weakness, or cardiovascular disease well into their 90s and beyond. The question that obsessed me was simple. What do these populations know that we don't? What are they doing that allows their muscles and hearts to function optimally for decades longer than the average American? The answer led me to discover what I now call the longevity vitamin complex, a group of nutrients that work together to maintain muscle function and cardiovascular health at the cellular level. And the master regulator of this entire system is a vitamin that most Americans have never even heard of. It's called vitamin K2-MK7. And it's perhaps the most powerful anti-aging nutrient on the planet. While regular vitamin K2 is important, the MK7 form is what actually gets into your cells and performs the miraculous work of directing calcium exactly where it needs to go. Here's what makes MK7 so extraordinary. It has a half-life of 3 days in your body, compared to just hours for other forms of vitamin K. This means it can provide continuous protection for your muscles and cardiovascular system around the clock. But here's the problem that's creating a silent health crisis in America. MK7 is found almost exclusively in a Japanese food called natto, fermented soybeans that most Westerners find completely unpalatable. The Japanese consume natto regularly and have some of the lowest rates of muscle problems and heart disease in the world. Meanwhile, Americans are walking around with virtually undetectable levels of MK7. And their bodies are paying the price with painful muscle cramps, arterial calcification, and premature cardiovascular aging. When I started supplementing my patients with high-quality MK7, the results were nothing short of miraculous. Not only did their muscle cramps disappear, but their overall energy levels soared. Their sleep improved dramatically, and their cardiovascular markers showed improvements that I'd never seen before in my 25 years of practice. But MK7 doesn't work alone. It functions as part of what I call the cellular repair network, a group of nutrients that work synergistically to maintain optimal muscle and heart function at any age. The next crucial component of this network is a vitamin that most people think they understand. But they're missing the most important part of the story. I'm talking about the B-complex vitamins. Specifically the ratios and forms that actually get into your cells where they can do their work. Most B vitamin supplements are synthetic forms that your body can barely recognize, let alone utilize effectively. But when you get the right forms in the right ratios, the transformation in muscle function and energy levels is absolutely remarkable. The key is understanding that B vitamins work as a team. Taking B12 without adequate B6 can actually create imbalances that make muscle cramps worse. Taking synthetic folic acid without natural folate can block your body's ability to use the folate it actually needs. This is why so many people take B vitamin supplements without seeing any improvement in their symptoms. They're not just wasting their money. they might actually be making their nutritional imbalances worse. The solution involves understanding the precise forms and ratios that support optimal muscle function. Methylated B vitamins that your body can actually use. Proper ratios that support cellular energy production without creating imbalances. When these are optimized, people report dramatic improvements, not just in muscle cramps, but in energy levels, mental clarity, and overall vitality. Their muscles function more efficiently. Their hearts pump more effectively. And their entire cardiovascular system operates at peak performance. This brings us to our final crucial nutrient. And this one might be the most important of all for long-term muscle and heart health. It's a mineral that's absolutely essential for over 400 enzymatic reactions in your body. Yet 90% of Americans are deficient without even knowing it. I'm talking about potassium. But not the kind you get from eating a banana. That's a common misconception that's actually preventing people from getting the potassium they really need. One banana contains about 400 milligrams of potassium. Your body actually needs over 4,000 milligrams per day for optimal muscle and heart function. That would mean eating 10 bananas daily, which would give you a massive sugar overload and still leave you deficient in other essential nutrients. The real issue with potassium deficiency is that it creates a cascade of problems throughout your entire cardiovascular system. Your heart muscle can't maintain proper rhythm. Your blood vessels can't regulate pressure effectively. Your skeletal muscles become prone to cramping and weakness. But here's what's really concerning. The standard American diet is not just low in potassium. It's actively depleting your body's potassium stores through excessive sodium intake. This creates what I call cellular chaos. Your muscle cells literally don't know when to contract and when to relax. The solution isn't just eating more potassium-rich foods, though that's important. It's about understanding the sodium-potassium balance that allows your muscles to function optimally. When this balance is restored, muscle cramps often disappear within days. Blood pressure normalizes. And energy levels soar. The richest sources of bioavailable potassium are foods that have been largely eliminated from the modern diet: leafy greens, avocados, white beans, sweet potatoes, and coconut water. But even with optimal diet, many people need targeted supplementation to restore proper cellular balance. Now, as we reach the end of our journey through these 9 life-changing nutrients, I want you to understand something crucial. This isn't just about eliminating muscle cramps, though that's certainly important. This is about unlocking your body's incredible capacity for healing, regeneration, and vitality at any age. Every single one of these nutrients works synergistically with the others to create what I call the optimal health matrix. When all 9 are present in proper amounts and ratios, your body functions the way it was designed to function. Your muscles are strong and flexible. Your heart pumps efficiently. Your energy levels are stable throughout the day. Your sleep is deep and restorative. But when even one of these nutrients is missing or deficient, the entire matrix becomes unstable. This is why taking calcium without vitamin K2 can actually increase your heart disease risk. Why taking magnesium without adequate B vitamins doesn't resolve muscle cramps. Why getting vitamin D without proper cofactors leaves you still deficient despite supplementation. The key is understanding how to build and maintain this matrix through targeted nutrition and lifestyle choices. And the beautiful thing is that once you understand these principles, the results happen quickly. Most people notice improvements in muscle function within the first week. Energy levels typically improve within the first month. And long-term cardiovascular protection begins immediately and compounds over time. But here's what I want you to remember most of all. Your body wants to heal. It wants to function optimally. It wants to give you decades of pain-free movement, restful sleep, and vibrant energy. You just have to give it the tools it needs to do its job. Those painful muscle cramps that have been waking you up at night. They're not a sign that your body is failing you. They're a sign that your body is trying to communicate with you. Trying to tell you what it needs to function at its best. And now you have the knowledge to listen to those signals and respond appropriately. You understand that muscle cramps aren't just a muscle problem, they're a window into your overall cardiovascular health. You know that the right nutrients can not only eliminate these cramps but potentially add years to your life and life to your years. The choice is yours. You can continue to suffer with painful muscle cramps, accepting them as an inevitable part of aging. Or you can take control of your health. Implement these evidence-based strategies. And experience the vitality and freedom that comes with optimal muscle and cardiovascular function. I've given you the knowledge. I've shown you the science. I've revealed the connections that most doctors never learned in medical school. Now it's time for you to take action. Start with just one nutrient today. Choose the one that resonated most strongly with you. Or the one that addresses your most pressing symptoms. Begin incorporating the foods I've mentioned into your daily routine. Consider targeted supplementation if needed. Working with a healthcare provider who understands these principles. Pay attention to how your body responds. Notice the changes in your sleep quality, your energy levels, your muscle comfort. Keep a simple journal, tracking your symptoms and improvements. And remember, every night you sleep without painful muscle cramps is a gift. Every day you wake up with energy and vitality is a victory. Every step you take without muscle weakness or discomfort is a celebration of what's possible when you give your body what it truly needs. Your muscles, your heart, and your entire cardiovascular system are counting on you to make these changes. They've been sending you signals through those painful cramps, hoping you'd understand what they're trying to tell you. Now you do understand. Now you have the power to transform not just your muscle health, but your entire experience of aging and vitality. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? The time for suffering in silence is over. The time for accepting muscle cramps as normal is over. The time for your transformation starts right now.